Go. You're on.
Hello, everyone. Renee Funk here with the Funk Collection, brokered by Realty.
And Jeffrey Funk, collection broker by EXP, and something is going on here already. How about that?
How about that?
Technical difficulties.
Oh no.
Jeff and Renee Funk here with Funk Collection broker by EXP Realty.
This is just challenges we overcome. That's no big
Yes.
deal. We're coming to you today to talk about a topic that has been quite hot in the real estate world, and that is clear cooperation. What that means for sellers, what that means for real estate agents. And first, taking a step back, can we just talk about the basics? What does the MLS even do for us as realtors and for the consumers, right? So I wanted to truly define so that everyone was on the same page. The MLS, the purpose of a multiple listing service is the orderly correlation and dissemination of listing information. So when we put a property on the MLS,
Yeah, the
what is the
MLS
goal?
is what we all as realtors see and look for properties for. And then the MLS actually goes to something called the IDX, which feeds to you, the customer, on Zillow, Realtor.com, RealtyInOrlando.com, the real important one there. But it goes to all these channels that we talk about. So what are we talking about when we talk about clear cooperation? We are talking about all of the agents and the consumer having access to the properties at the same time.
That's right.
Yes.
Why
And that's key, the same time.
at the same time? So NAR, the National Association of Realtors, first officially adopted Clear Cooperation 8.0 policy, which went into effect at the national level fall of 2019, specifically in November. From that point forward, our local board of realtors have a little leeway time to adopt the policy. In fact, in our area, Orlando, our MLS is Stellar MLS. Stellar has put the clear cooperation policy in effect as of March 3rd.
Yeah.
Which is why we come to you today to talk about how does this affect realtors and sellers?
Yeah, before we had a lot of agents doing what we would call pocket listings, which was a seller would tell me, like, or another agent, hey, I'm thinking about selling my property. And then the agent would go around, maybe talk to other agents, maybe talk, put a post up on Facebook, but it wouldn't really go out to the general public. We might also do coming soons. Once we got a listing or property listing, we would then go and take pictures of it. Maybe when we were out with the photographer getting the pictures taken, we might get our phone out and we'd be doing these selfies and saying, hey, look at our new listing behind me, and it's coming soon. Give me a call for details.
Well,
That's kind of
we will
ending.
not. No, it is officially ended. We as agents will no longer be able to do any coming soon, which we fully support. Again, keeping in mind that the goal is to make sure that all realtors and all consumers have access to the listing with synergy and at the same time. So moving forward, for you, a potential seller, you should expect that your listing agent should sit down with you and walk you through what the first couple weeks would look like. Let's just walk through. We're at a listing appointment and we're getting ready to list that property. Talk a little bit about our process, because we've been doing a different process for several years now as marketers in the field of real estate.
Yeah. So we would sit down, we'd be at the table, and then we'd sign a listing agreement. And then from that point, started talking about the property. We started hyping it up. It's kind of, we'd say, it's not like, think about Apple. When Apple came out with an Apple Watch, when they first came out with the Apple Watch, they didn't just say, hey, look, today it's on the store. It's on the shelves today. They talked about that thing for months, almost a year they talked about it. I think they started in like February and they didn't go live till like September, October. So they were hyping it up, and we would do the same thing with our properties.
Right.
And it works. It does work, but the challenge being is that not all agents might not see our coming soon,
Right.
or maybe just our customers were seeing it, and we wanted a fair playing ground on everything.
Which we support.
Yes.
So moving forward, there will be, from the time that a listing agreement is executed to the time that a property goes on the market, which we call active live on the MLS, there can be no mention of any type of marketing that would be any signs up, any Facebook lives, social media lives, any kind of mention that the consumer could view anywhere until 24 hours prior to it going live, essentially that same day. So that way, once a property goes live on the market, everyone's seeing it at the exact same time.
Yes.
Which is fair.
Yeah. So
fair.
if you are an agent and you are at that, at that photo shoot and you decide to take that picture of the house behind you and say, hey, I got a listing coming live, you now have to go live on the MLS 24 hours. One day.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah, within 24 hours.
Yep.
You have to be live on the MLS. So a sign going, this is all different things. It doesn't matter if it's a sign going in the ground, if it's a if it's a flyer, flyer.
Digital marketing on any public facing website, multi-brokerage listing sharing networks. So some of the designations even that we belong to with our luxury designations, which will provide an opportunity, it used to, that we could post there before we actually went live. That's not allowed. Any digital communications, including email blasts or emails, brokerage website displays, and of course flyers displayed anywhere. But even to give an example, here in our office at 422 Main Street in Windermere, we certainly could not put any flyers out on our door or on our window that would be accessible for the consumer to view until we are actually going live on the MLS so that it is available to all. Now, all that said, the one challenge that I actually don't care for about Clear Cooperation is that the policy is written to say from the time that the listing agreement between the brokerage and the seller goes into a place, once it's executed, to the time that the agent and the brokerage lists the property is supposed to be 5 days.
Yeah.
So here's where I have a little beef. As marketers, when we're doing a exceptional job at marketing the sale of a property, as you were mentioning earlier with the analogy with Apple, there has to be really good synergy that all marketing pieces must be in place at the same time, which we're real good at, right? Like brochures have to be done the same day, postcards have to be ready to go.
We have to get a photographer out there.
Right.
We have to get a photographer, maybe a videographer. There's maybe we're doing 360 photos and we need the company to compile the 360 tour. Once we compile a brochure, now we have to get it printed. So there's so many things going on here. Photographer, sometimes it's a week to get a photographer, if it's during busy season.
Staging.
So we don't want to go, staging.
Which means I think on any listing that we've ever had, it's almost impossible when done correctly as marketers to actually only need 5 days. That part, we don't agree with the 5 day period. But the good news is
we have a form.
We have a form, which leads us to really our biggest takeaway for sellers that we want to make sure that we're sharing with everybody is when you're listing your property, there is an opportunity to give the listing agent ample amount of time to properly prepare the marketing. We have, as Stellar MLS has allowed us to utilize, it's a waiver of entry. And that means that we can sit down with our sellers and explain that really only during the time that we would be preparing marketing, so let's just say in a lot of cases it might be about a 2-week period, we can have this form signed, and it's a basic form that just says the seller acknowledges during this window that's predetermined. All of those marketing pieces will be prepared, including the brochures and the postcards and all of the details that we'll go over. This form allows us to do so.
Mm-hmm.
When you're listing your property as a seller, and again, we're specifically talking about Stellar MLS, as our MLS has now approved the Clear Cooperation policy, I would say it's fully normal that your listing agent has a conversation with you about filling out the waiver of entry during the period of preparation for marketing.
Yeah, and this is a huge improvement from what we had previously when we wanted to not put it in the MLS, not put your property listing in the MLS right away. We would it was a scary form actually. It
Well,
basically
yeah.
it seemed scary. There was all the reasons not to go on the MLS, which was not what we were trying to do. We wanted to go live in the MLS. We just wanted to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row at first. So this form actually gives us that, gives us that leeway to make sure that everything is correct. That all our I's are dotted, our T's are crossed when we go live, because ultimately you only go live. You only press that button to go live once. And when you decide to go live on the MLS, how we were talking earlier about how that goes through all the feeds. So it'll go to Zillow, it'll go to Trulia, it'll go to Realtor.com, it'll go to RealtyInOrlando.com.
RealtyInOrlando.com.
It will go everywhere. It will also go to anybody that has a saved search in place on
Yes.
any of those platforms. And that's the real key, is it gets blasted to everybody on those saved
But
searches.
what does blasted
Blasted,
mean?
an email blast to all these. It goes out, anybody that has a saved search, it will get emailed to them.
That's right.
It only happens on a couple of occasions. One, when you first go live
Which is the
on
most,
the MLS,
which is
key.
the most important moment, like when you're debuting any product. The moment that you actually debut a product is the most critical moment. That's
Yeah.
why everything must be perfect in place. That is why we need proper time to prepare marketing.
And then you can't get another email blast going out to everybody on that mass scale until you do a price
Yes.
adjustment. So make sure your agent is doing everything properly, that it is everybody has signed off on everything, and we're all happy with the photos, the description, that all the data within the listing itself is correct and true.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I would just in as we wrap up say that it would be perfectly normal that a listing agent would have a conversation with a potential seller about the waiver of entry, again, during the time of marketing preparation. And in fact, every seller that we work with, we have this conversation with. If there is an opportunity that you're considering listing a property and there's urgency to go to market, I really encourage you to have healthy conversation with your listing agent as to the potential challenges that you could inherit by not taking the time to properly line up every single marketing tool that we have.
Yeah, and we understand sellers, you want to get that property sold. You want that thing on the market where everybody can see it, but you don't want it on the market until it's right. Ultimately,
right.
It's doing you a disservice to put it up there before everything is completed.
There's so many details that go into it, and many of those we would obviously go through in the listing appointment. But I just want to say this as well, that if you're feeling the rush, know that even the day that you go live on the market has a significant impact to the engagement you receive. We go live on certain days of the week for certain reasons, and it's imperative that you really analyze all of those details.
You want a marketing plan.
You want a marketing plan, that's right. All right, I think we really covered everything.
Yeah, clear cooperation, good.
It's
good
good.
thing.
It's a good thing, and we support the NAR Clear Cooperation. I have to give major kudos to Stellar MLS, which is our local MLS and board, that they did a good job on this new form.
Yeah, absolutely.
I fully stand behind and support, and thank you to all the realtors as well who donated it on time, on the committees, and really came together to formulate a great plan. We're excited about it, and if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to us.
Have a great day, guys.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.